Heather, good morning.
Jason, good morning.
How are you today?
I'm good.
Good.
I'm okay.
I see you've been listening to Taylor Swift.
I have, yes. I did find the clean version on Spotify. Did you know that that's a thing?
No.
Oh, yeah. You can listen to the clean version on Spotify, and there's far fewer, as in none, F-bombs in it, which makes it a little safer to listen to with my children.
Does she replace them, or is it just like a blank word?
In most of them, she does, except for in Thank You, Amy. They just kind of you, Amy, instead. So
that song, like, listener, viewer, I know you came here for Lord of the Rings stuff, but with all of the like rap beef happening with like Drake and
I don't even know what's
Lamar,
going on, but I woke up to like threads going crazy.
Yeah, it's
like,
nuts. As I don't know how to jump into that. And it's like, do I want to? No, it's Free Comic Book Day. I've got to focus. But Thank You, Amy, maybe the best diss track of a generation. Right? It's so good.
It's so good.
It's so funny.
So good.
Yeah, it's great. So I was pretty stoked by that when I learned what it was. I was like, oh, okay, this is pretty funny.
Yeah.
But anyway, so Heather,
I just love her.
Yeah, she's pretty great. And you're gonna go see her in December.
Yes, and Memphis's little bestie knows now too that she's going as well, and so
just you and Memphis's bestie.
Just me and Lennon.
That'll be fun for you too.
No, Memphis, Lennon, and our neighbor Ashley. We're all going together.
Ashley is Lennon's mom, or just some other person? Okay,
just some other rando that I was like, "Hey, little bestie, I need another adult. Let's go."
Yeah.
No, it is Lennon's mom, and yeah, we're all going together, and we're super excited about it. So
it'll be fun.
Yes.
It'll be a fun time. So, but we're gonna have a fun time right now.
Yes, we are,
because we're going to talk about chapters 5 and 6 of Fellowship of the Ring.
Let's get after it.
Book 1 of Lord of the Rings. And
yes.
It's good stuff.
It is.
It's a Conspiracy Unmasked and The Old Forest are the chapter titles.
Yeah.
And Heather, would you give us a summary of chapter 5?
I would. All right. So last we talked, sorry. We're good. You know how you sometimes just choke on your spit? Like, nope. Okay.
No, I'm aware of the phenomenon.
Dear Father. Anyway, at the end of chapter 4, they like ran into Mary, and he was about to take them on the ferry.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's as far as I run. Anyway, so he gets them on the ferry to cross the Brandywine. And then we get to hear about the history of the Bucklanders, founded by Gorindad Oldbuck, who changed his name to Brandybuck, as one does. And other hobbits thought them Bucklanders were a little peculiar, but they weren't that different from other hobbits, except that they loved boats and some could swim.
Yeah.
So that's exciting. And they kept their doors locked at night. So it's like, you know, our parents didn't in Kirkland until
recently,
a little while ago.
Yeah.
And yeah, so they're the Shire. Where we lived in Everett was like the Bucklanders.
You best lock the doors. Was your house in Everett? I guess it was, yeah.
Well, no, we lived in Mukilteo, but we had an apartment in Everett when we got married, when we first got married. Yeah.
Right.
Anyway, so history lessons over. We get back to the story. They make it across the river and they look back and they see a shadowy figure. And it scurries back to the gloom. But they realize they were being followed.
Mm-hmm.
I thought this portion in the movie made it a lot more like intense. And I get why, but like, I was like, come on, that didn't happen. And that was one of the moments I looked over at Jeremy and was like, that's not how it is in the book. So speaking of, we still
I
haven't
mean,
finished. We
you
still
haven't
haven't
finished
finished
the
the movie.
Fellowship of the Ring?
No.
Where did you stop?
We stopped as Frodo was like, which way do I turn?
Oh,
Like
at
as they're
Rivendell.
leaving.
That's leaving
Yeah.
Rivendell. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I know. I know. I
Okay.
know. It's
All right.
just
You'll
we
get
have
there.
had life going on, and that's a long time to just sit and dedicate to watching a movie, and we can't. Anyway, so Mary took the basket from them, the basket of mushrooms,
Mm-hmm.
and went out ahead of them. And Frodo, Pippin, and Sam made their way to Frodo's new house at Chick Hollow.
Crick Hollow.
Crick Hollow. I can't read my writing.
Okay.
Like
That's an R.
it's pretty bad. I really do need to start typing these. Anyway, when they got there, they saw Mary and Fatty. Is it Bulger or Bulger? Because
I would say Bulgur.
okay, Fatty Bulger, which like cool. But they had made his home at Crick Hollow feel like home. They had set
Mm-hmm.
everything up and made it look wonderful. And there were baths. There were 3 tubs in this room that they could just take a bath in. And Pippin got very excited and started singing a stupid bath song, went crazy in the tub. There was water everywhere. And then they had another dinner. It was mushrooms for Mrs. Maggot. And then I'm sure there were other things in there as well, maybe. No,
I
just
mean, I'm just
mushrooms.
looking at I'm just kind of clicking along in my book as you
Okay,
talk about it. I mean, yeah, it's
perfect.
food. Yeah. They
Yeah,
ate.
they kept eating. Anyway, so then they hung out by the fire. And Mary wanted to know why Farmer Maggot seemed so scared when he was dropping them off. So they recounted their run ins with the Black Riders. And Frodo noticed that the riders are looking, they must be looking for Bilbo or for him. And it's connected to Bilbo's old adventures and admits that he's not safe
Mm-hmm.
anywhere. And he was about to tell them that he needed to leave again. And Mary basically spilled the not so secret beans and said that they were going with him on this adventure and that Mary knew about the ring since before Bilbo had actually even left.
Mm-hmm.
And he explains how he knew about it because he was watching Bilbo disappear when the Sackville Bagginses like were about to cross his path. And so then he watched him reappear after they had moved on, and he had seen Bilbo's book too. So he was like, "Yo, I know about all this stuff. It's no surprise. I'm going." And it turns out that Sam had also been bringing a ton of information to the conspirators. And Frodo was shocked, angry, relieved, felt foolish, etc. And they told him that they were sticking to him and going where he goes. They were the Cuatro Amigos,
Mm-hmm.
and they're with him till the end.
Yep.
And Bilbo or Frodo, sorry, wrong Hobbit. Frodo called them deceitful scoundrels, but he was truly so happy to just have it all out in the open and that they could be accompanying him on this quest. And then, wouldn't you know it, there was another song. So that's fun. They debated leaving at once or in the morning, hoping if they waited a little bit longer, they'd get to see Gandalf. And they decided that they'll leave in the morning, that they'll need to go an unexpected route through the old forest. Excuse me. And Fatty was like, no thanks. Super grateful that his role was to stay behind and convince the looky-loos that Frodo was still living at Crick Hollow,
Mm-hmm.
and then to pass along information to Gandalf as well. Eventually, Frodo falls asleep, but he had weird dreams. In one part, he was looking out a high window into a mess of tangled trees. And then he heard the sea, and then was like in the open and saw a tall white tower standing alone on a high ridge. And he was like, I'm a climb it. And he was going there to climb it. And then suddenly a bright light and thunder. And that's where it ends.
Yeah.
Until chapter 6.
Yeah. It picks up the next page.
He wakes up, guys.
Yeah.
It's
He
a
didn't
dream.
die. He
He didn't
wasn't
die.
Nightmare on Elm Street.
Never
So,
seen it.
me neither.
So.
I just know that the premise is if you die in your dreams, you die in real life. So, yeah. Anyway,
Okay.
I mean, you've never died in your dreams, have you?
I have.
You died in your dream.
Yeah.
How are you still here?
I
Did
don't
you
know.
learn nothing from Nightmare on Elm
I
Street?
guess not, because I've never seen it.
I guess
So it's kind of like The Ring.
I
Like
guess so.
you
Also,
just
never
don't
seen
watch
The
it.
Ring. Yeah,
Neither have I.
I don't
So
really like
here we
scary
are,
movies.
still
So
alive.
I don't really like scary
Yeah.
movies, but I do like zombie movies. I don't know why.
Why?
Because it's not about the zombies. It's about
It's about the art.
humanity. No,
Oh,
art. It's
okay.
about humanity and how people act when the world falls apart.
So
That's
did you
usually
watch
what
The
zombie
Last of
movies are about.
Us?
No, I have not because I heard it's way too emotional. Emotional. Like
Oh,
I just am not ready for that.
got it.
Yeah. Anyway, so
But
Fellowship of the Ring is also very
yeah,
emotional. So we
yeah,
should talk about that.
maybe.
Yeah, I love that everybody just kind of knew about Frodo's secret, and he's like, "I got to keep this secret,"
Right.
which
It's
is
just like
a
eating at him.
yeah, and it's one of those tropes that's like, if y'all would just talk to each other, everything would be better.
Can I tell you how many books I have read already that there's like a conflict between the two main characters, and one of them is just not saying what they need to say to the other, and is like, this book could be over like 20 chapters ago if you guys would just communicate.
Yeah,
Yeah. So
it's annoying.
I
I'm
hate
glad.
that.
I'm glad they got this sorted out in chapter 5.
Right. Because good night.
Now we have things to do.
Right.
So, yeah, and I love how they're just like, yeah, we're with you, man, to the very end. We're going. So yeah, it's like these
Little
guys,
besties.
they're so nice. And again, Pippin is a singer of song, and he loves songs, and he's going to continue doing that. So,
Just
um,
can't.
yeah. What else is there to highlight in this chapter? It's not a lot happening other than we get this indication. Where they're talking about going through the old forest.
Mm-hmm.
The brandy bucks go in occasionally when fit takes them. We have a private entrance through the hedge, and
Yeah.
Frodo went in once long ago. I've been in several times, usually in daylight, of course, when the trees are sleepy and fairly quiet. And you're like, that's a weird thing to say about these trees.
Yeah. Yeah.
But turns out the trees can be troubling. So I love that. The difference between the hobbits here and in Buckland and in the Shire, like they're getting closer and closer to uncivilized space in the
Okay.
hobbit mindset. Like they're getting closer to the realms of men
So it's
and to
like getting closer to like Sultan.
well, except the closer you are from uncivilized space for hobbits is the more danger you're getting to.
Oh,
Right? Because
okay.
it's like they're leaving small town where it's just civilized,
Got
heading
it.
towards
Opposites.
people.
Okay.
Right.
Got it.
Whereas here,
Okay.
like you leave from Linwood and go to Sultan, you probably would feel more like I don't really need to lock my door as much. I don't know. I haven't been to Sultan a lot. There's probably a lot of meth heads out there now, but
Probably.
you know,
Sad.
so it is sad. But anyway, so yeah, so it's just interesting to like the little notes. Like they lock their doors.
Yeah.
Because it's like it's not as safe here. And yeah, I think that's important to note. And then also the fact that the Brandy Buck people like they like water and boats and swimming.
Right.
Like that's just another distinction. Most hobbits have never had a reason to cross a river. Never had a reason to use a boat. And so like they don't bother learning how to swim because like why would you ever get in water?
It's just unsafe though. Like you should still know.
But if you've never had to, like if the largest body of water is your bathtub,
you can still drown in a bathtub.
I guess.
These like the hobbits are not smart. So
they don't have to be smart.
I know.
So,
but it bugs me.
Yeah. And then this weird dream he has it's interesting.
Does that represent anything? Is that like the giant tower of the bad wizard?
Saruman.
Yeah, that's his name.
Let me click on this. Um, there's a footnote in my Kindle edition here. It says
Hmm.
the White Tower. These were the stones of Anuminus and Amansul. The only stones left in the north was the one in the Tower of Emin Baraid that looks toward the Gulf of Loon that was guarded by the elves. And though we never knew it, it remained there until Curdon put it aboard Elrond's ship when he left. But we are told that it was unlike the others and not in accord with them. It looked only to the sea. Elendil set it there so that he could look back with straight sight and see Erisea in the vanished west. But the bent seas below covered Numenor forever. So that helps, right?
No,
Uh,
very
what
much not.
the heck didn't just happen? I'm now gone way too far into the future. The honk. Oh, it took me all the way to the appendix. Okay. Sorry. So it's the tower here is not Saruman's tower. It
Okay.
is what they're saying is it is a tower that is most likely the elves built it and looking toward the west where the sea is, where the elves came from. And so it is a bit of foreshadowing here for Frodo's life.
Oh,
And so this dream is a small thing, but looking at the sea and trying to look that great distance is talking about like going to the Grey Havens, which is a part of the elvish lore. Like all the elves that were leaving Middle Earth, they're going
yeah.
across the sea, and so
Oh, okay.
yeah. So it's just a little like interesting little dream here. And as you read the rest of the book, you'll see like this is a little interesting little dream here. May have been some kind of portent.
Oh,
Mm,
like porthole.
omen. You're a
Omen?
porthole.
You're a
Uh,
porthole. Did you say the honk
the hunk, yeah,
before?
yeah,
Like, as in, like, what the heck?
yeah.
Like, okay, got
It's a
it.
dog meme. So there's a golden retriever that I follow on Instagram, and they put little
Okay.
captions over him when he does dumb things like the honk. Give me some of that chimkin. Uh,
Oh, yeah.
so man,
Yeah.
golden retrievers are amazing. So yeah, so that's chapter 5,
Okay, cool.
right? Anything else that highlights that from there in your reading?
Um, no.
Cool, cool, cool,
Okay,
cool.
cool. Cool. So, chapter 6, the old forest. So yeah, he wakes up to Mary banging at the door saying that it's time to get up and get on their way. And Fatty saw them as far as the opening in the hedge with like some super comforting and encouraging words. Goodbye, Frodo. I wish you were not going into the forest. I only hope you will not need rescuing before the day is out. But good luck to you today and every day. So precious. That's exactly what I want to hear as I'm going into peril, but cool. They were now in the old forest, and Pippin wanted to know if the stories were true. And Mary's like, well, yeah, the forest is alive, more aware of the goings on, and the trees don't like strangers. They've moved before,
Mm-hmm.
like they move around. And at one time they like were encroaching on where were they just at? Brandybuck?
Buckland.
Buckland. Okay. Sorry. My brain is not great today. Anyway, they were encroaching on Buckland and the hobbits were like, no. And they chopped them down and made a bonfire and were like, look at that. That's the memory of what could happen.
Yeah, watch out, trees.
Yeah, we're gonna get you.
We got
Um,
axes.
and fire. Okay, but as they're like going through, or no, Mary was saying that somebody or something has made a path, and that's what he's like going to go try and find.
Mm-hmm.
So they made their way into the thick of it into the forest and felt like they were being closed in on all sides. Eventually, they find Bonfire Glade,
Mm-hmm.
but the path to it had shifted, and so Mary's like, "Oh, well, here it is. Sorry, guys." Um, Eventually, the sun started to shine through the tops of the trees, and they felt encouraged, riding along happily. And then it started to feel like a deli counter hot bag, and the trees started pressing in on them again. But
Deli counter hot bag. That would
yeah,
have been so wonderful if Tolkien actually said that. It started to feel like one of those rollers at 7-Eleven.
yeah. Deli counter hot bag is how I explain what it feels like here in Oklahoma
Okay.
in July. And really, probably today, once I step outside, it will feel very deli counter hot baggish.
That sounds awful.
So it's not great. It's
Man.
not my favorite.
Oh.
But whatever.
But I'm also getting kind of hungry for a crispy burrito. So they're so good.
From Taco Time?
Oh, no, I'm not really crazy about that. Just like from a gas station.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
I should go to Quick Trip and get something. That is actually like a really good
do you have
gas
Buc-ee's
station here.
out there?
Not close to us. The closest one is actually, I think they just opened one in Springfield. But in
Springfield, Missouri?
Yeah.
Is that close to you?
It's not far. It's I think like 3-ish hours. Melissa, Texas is the one that we've been to. And that's 3-ish, maybe almost 4 hours. It's on the way to Dallas. So
I hear it's awesome. I'd love to go to one sometime.
It's amazing. So here's the thing. When you come out here to visit, when you come out here to visit, we can either go up to Springfield and see the Jances and see the AG headquarters and all of that.
That sounds amazing.
It does, doesn't it? We can drive through Joplin, the worst place on earth.
You're really selling it.
And then, or we can go down to Dallas and stop at Buc-ee's on the way.
Okay. Wow.
Jason, this will be so fun.
Let me think about it. I got a big trip planned.
October? Love it. Let's do it. Yeah.
I'm not coming in October.
Wonderful. I heard you're coming in October, so getting the guest room ready for you. Great. And then, so the deli counter hot bag, the trees started pressing in on them again, and Frodo tried to sing a song, but failed because it kind of just like got stuck in his throat-ish.
The word fail.
Fail was at the end of the song. Anyway, Mary told him to wait to sing until they get to the edge because the trees didn't appreciate the song. Mm-hmm. They had a fairly easy time for a little bit. They came to a clearing where they could see the Withywindle, which is not the way that they wanted to go, but the trees had other plans and made their trek very difficult. So they had essentially lost all sense of direction, basically just going deeper into the forest and not out of it. And eventually they find themselves in a very heavily willowed area and realize that they are on the river Withywindle. Mary went exploring and then came back and said he had found a path that would lead out onto the east side of the forest. It was basically the best bad idea that they had, as they weren't really sure of any other way out. Eventually they got soups hot and tired and they took some naps among the willows. And Sam wakes up and was like, "Oof, what's happening?" Found the ponies, found that Frodo had been trapped by a tree, thrown into the water by the tree. So that's fun. Then they saw that Mary was trapped by these dastardly trees as well, and Pippin was missing. And Sam decided that arson was the best course of action. Mm-hmm. But the tree was angry and squeezed Mary, and Pippin could be heard screaming inside the tree as well. And Frodo ran around shouting for help. And then this is when we meet the Middle-earth Andy Bernard, freaking Tom Bombadil. He started singing his nonsense to the willow, then hit it with one of his own branches. The tree must have also thought that Tom Bombadil was annoying because eventually Mary and Pippin were able to break free. And then this character invites them for dinner and then goes off ahead of them. They followed, but he was far ahead, and eventually they make it out of the forest into a clearing and saw Tom's house, and he sang again to greet them, and Goldberry was there too. So
Goldberry is his wife.
Yeah.
So his whole life is about making Goldberry happy. His whole personality is somebody else. So yeah,
I hate him.
He's annoying.
I can't stand him.
Yeah, people. There are people who are like huge Tom Bombadil stans, and those are the folks that's like, oh, I don't think we could be friends.
No,
I cannot stand Tom Bombadil.
It's just he is just the worst, and like he shouldn't be, but I just don't like him.
He's annoying.
Yes,
he's thoroughly
and he's even
annoying.
worse in like the next chapter.
Mm-hmm.
Which, I mean, if we want to just skip chapter 7,
we cannot.
Why?
We have to read it because it is part of our lot in life. So as you were reading this, did you feel this chapter? Did you feel like, wait a second, we've done this before with Mirkwood?
Like, oh yeah, yes.
Like first time I read through this, I was like, man, does Tolkien just hate forests? Like, what's his deal? Yeah, but wood here
pretty heavily wooded in England.
In some places, yeah, but that's where Robin Hood lives, and I don't know. So, but the character of Old Man Willow, right? Like a tree that eats people, and the trees moving about and trying to trap people. It's an interesting thing. And later in the Two Towers, we'll meet some characters that will be like
some other trees. Is it more trees?
They're called Ents.
Ents.
They are shepherds of the forest. So we're going to meet a character named Treebeard.
Sure, of course we are.
And Merry and Pippin are going to spend a lot of time with Treebeard, which is like throwing these two traumatized hobbits into a friendship with a shepherd of the forest. Like, it's easy to, like, as you read through this, to forget that at one point Merry and Pippin were in a tree. And now
like being digested by a tree.
Yeah. And then Tolkien's like, well, that's because those trees didn't have shepherds.
Oh, okay.
These are wild trees. And so then, but with Treebeard, there's a whole problem with the Ents. They lost the Ents lost the Entwives. They don't know where their partners are. And it's pretty sad. And so, and the Ents, like, they gave up basically caring about the world. And, but the conflict of the War of the Ring that we're entering into, it activates these people who were, trees first, trees for America, those kinds of people. So, or trees for Middle Earth, or whatever. So it is interesting, the way that Tolkien is introducing this idea of these trees, and the problem with trees. So anyway, is that
another book that he wrote?
No, he did write a book called a short story called Leaf by Niggle. And it is about how an artist is making a leaf. He wants to paint a whole forest, and all he's got is this leaf. And at the end of his life, he dies, and then he sees that other people continue to build upon his art. And so all the while, it was just this one thing that he was obsessed with, but there's something bigger that was being built around him. It's a good story.
Always is.
But it's a good reminder to say, like, yeah, you've got this tiny little thing that you're doing. Don't forget that it's a bigger thing as well.
Yeah.
So anyway, so he does like trees, but this chapter, it talks so much about trees, and dew, and flies, and heat. It's just so boring.
It really is. I truly had a hard time getting through it both times I read it.
Yeah, it's a hard one to read. And so until the tree starts trying to eat Merry and Pippin, it's kind of boring. And then you're like, oh,
action.
And as I was reading it, I was like, wait, what happened?
I did too, actually. I was like, wait, but Wait,
He's
the
in a
tree actually
dream.
like threw him in?
Yeah, I was like, wait, what? Hold up. Slow down, Jason. You're reading too fast.
I can't.
And so so they're trying to set it on fire. Put it out, you'll crush him. But then, Tom Bombadil, though, he's just living in the forest. Hey, doll, Mary doll, ring a dong dillo. Ring a dong, hop along, fall lol the willow. Tom Bomb, Jolly Tom, Tom Bombadillo. Which I would love for somebody to actually put into the next diss track. So somebody like Drake, Lamar, come on, Kendrick, Taylor, somebody make a diss track from the character of Tom Bombadillo.
She totally could, and it would. I think
that's what Fortnite is about.
You think so? Wow. Yeah, I love you. It's ruining my life.
The thing about Taylor Swift's album is I'm concerned with how many songs are about killing people.
Yeah, my mom. Everyone knows my mom's a saintly woman, but she wishes you were dead.
Yeah, but then also even like Fortnite.
I want to kill her.
I want to kill her.
I want to kill him. Yeah.
And then Florida, like that's where I buried the bodies. Like, what is that happening?
A bad thing to say in a song?
So anyway,
sorry, that'll be our next podcast. Is just talking about Taylor Swift songs.
I don't want to commit to that because she makes so many songs.
I know. I still haven't fully gotten through the anthology. Like I've listened to it, but I haven't stopped to like listen to it. Okay. So yeah.
Do you follow Elise Myers on YouTube or anything?
I followed her on Instagram, but she's been like
she left
from Instagram.
She's on YouTube now. Like only really posting on YouTube, but she was doing a thing where she was like listening to it. And like, it's funny because she's like, who's this? And she's like looking people up and like, I think I'm going to do a lot of Googling on this album.
Yeah.
Anyway, Tom Bombadillo. He's just singing and hopping along. Rid-it-dit-do. And
I hate him.
Yeah. And so Frodo's like, my friends are caught in the willow tree. And so he's like, okay, I'll get you out. And he gets him out and he takes him home. Yeah. This chapter.
Well, like first he sings about his wife.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. His song is, hey, come Mary doll, dairy doll, my darling. Light goes the weather wind and my feather starling. Down along the underhill, shining in the sunlight, waiting in the doorstep for the cold starlight. There my pretty lady is, river woman's daughter, slender as the willow wand, clearer than the water. Old Tom Bombadil, water lilies bringing, comes hopping home again. Can you hear him singing? Hey, come Mary doll, dairy dollo, Mario, goldberry, Mary yellow berry-o. Poor old willow man, you tuck your roots away. Tom's in a hurry now, evening will follow day. Tom's going home again, water lilies bringing. Hey, come dairy doll, can you hear me singing?
It's so dumb. Frodo and Sam stood as if enchanted.
So
I think it was more just like, what?
Yeah,
like their faces had to have just been like, did you just see that?
Who is this? And at any rate, he was too large and heavy for a hobbit, if not quite tall enough for one of the big people. Though he made noise enough for one, stomping along with great yellow boots on his thick legs and charging through the grass and rushes like a cow going down to drink. He had a blue coat and long brown beard. His eyes were blue and bright, and his face was red as a ripe apple, but creased into 100 wrinkles of laughter. In his hands, he carried a large leaf as a tray, small pile of white water lilies. And this is the guy that first like, help.
Yeah. This guy can get it.
Yeah.
He seems like he's seen some things.
Yeah. So then he's like, all right, I'll save you. And then he's like, hop along, my little friends, up the withy window. Tom's going on ahead. Candles to the floor to kindle. Down west sinks the sun. Soon you will be groping. When the night shadows fall, the door will open. Out of the window panes, light will twinkle yellow. Fair no, alder black, heed ho. Heed no, hoary willow. Fear neither root nor bough. Tom goes on before you. Hey, now, Mary doll, we'll be waiting for you.
And after that,
hey, come, dairy doll, hop along, you hearties. Hobbit ponies, all we are, very fond of parties. Now let the fun begin. Let us sing together. Now let the song begin. Let us sing together of sun, star, moon, and mist, rain, cloudy weather. Light on the budding leaf, dew on the feather, wind of the open hills, bells on the heather, reeds of the shady pool, lilies on the water, old Tom Bombadil and the river daughter. What? Mic drop, and then they're like, whoa. Caitlin Clark. Mom spaghetti. Anyway. Man, I think I'm going to do all of the songs now in a rap cadence.
I hate everything about it.
Oh, there's another one. So slender awful. As a willow wand, or clearer than the water. That's in the next chapter.
There's so much of his nonsense in the next chapter, and I just can't with him. Ugh.
Oh, it's chapter 7 and 8 too, because he comes back.
Yes. It's too much. It's too much Tom Bombadil. He is the worst thing. I just hate him. It's fine.
But it ends after chapter 8 with Tom.
We never have to see him again after chapter 8, dear reader. Right? He doesn't ever come back.
Yeah, I'm just going ahead to find another song that's not Tom Bombadil to see if I can do the same cadence. Here's one. I can't. It's in Bree. Anyway, I'll stop. Sorry, everybody. Sorry I did that to you.
Is it in The Rain Goes South?
No, it's in The Prancing Pony.
The Snuggly Duckling?
Yeah, the Snuggly Duckling. Okay. So, all right. Anyway, so that's chapter 6. 5 and 6.
We did it.
And
worst ever.
We'll go to their party. And it's nice, like what Tolkien does is, he introduces these characters like Tom Bombadil and Beorn who are able to help at just the right time.
Sure.
Right. And Tom is one of those.
Beorn was like, yes, that guy. Tom, I just can't.
Yeah, but he doesn't bother really to explain Beorn or Tom. Right.
They're there.
They exist. And that's one of the nice things about this world that Tolkien has created is there's a lot more going on than Frodo's problems.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so even as we continue on, we get to the Riders of Rohan and you're like, who are these people? And they've got a whole thing. They've got a whole world that exists and they're important. They're going to follow through the rest of the story. But like characters like Tom and Beorn and even the people of Dale in the Hobbit, right? All these folks, like they've got their own lives they're living and their own things they're doing. And Tolkien has populated this world with a lot of mystery and weirdness, which I like.
A lot.
But anyway,
a lot of weirdness.
That's really that, huh?
Yeah. All right.
Tom Bombadil.
Stop it. All right. So next week, are we looking at chapters 7 and 8? I just want to get through Tom.
Let's do it.
I don't want to drag him out. I mean, I want to drag him out, but I don't want to. What?
Just so mean.
I can't stand him.
He's terrible.
It's the worst. I'm just going to ask AI to summarize these 2 chapters for me next week. It'll be better.
Maybe. I think you do a fine job, though. So, listener, if you have any questions on Tom Bombadil, if you want to write a fat beat that we can rap over, send those to hobbitformingpod@gmail.com. Hobbitforming@gmail.com.
I don't know.
Or just, leave a comment on YouTube if you've got some sweet Tom Bombadil diss tracks. Post your videos, leave a link on YouTube, and that'll be great. You can subscribe on my YouTube channel at JDuman on YouTube or Hobbit Forming. Look for Hobbit Forming on Instagram, Threads, and we'll continue on with this nonsense.
It really is. I just want to get to the Snuggly Duckling.
Yeah, great things happen at the Prancing Pony, right? Only wins. And
Oh, only wins.
yeah, it's all good things. Like there's no reason
Uh-huh.
to fear. I
None.
mean, it's such a cute little bar. The bartender doesn't remember anything.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Oh, Gandalf, yeah, that guy. What's
That
his
guy.
deal? I seem to remember a tall
Guys.
wizard, mustachioed." Anyway, there's an
And then we get to know Strider.
yeah, Strider. Strider's the man.
I like Strider.
Strider's great.
Really
He's
is.
so such an awesome character.
Mm-hmm.
And while in the movies he's supposed to be, in the books he's like 80 years old, in the movies Viggo Mortensen is just so perfect.
Mm-hmm.
He's so perfect, and I love it.
Agreed.
Anyway,
Agreed.
he's
Yeah.
that's really the only movie I've seen that I can think of that I've seen Viggo Mortensen in. I know he's in other stuff, but I don't. They're all like arty.
They're all arty.
Yeah, well, Eastern Promises, but I didn't see that. It looked too violent.
I don't know that movie.
He's like a hitman for, and then there's a history of violence, which I didn't see. Also looked too violent.
What? No,
It's right in the title, history of
it doesn't
violence.
seem like that's right.
It's also a graphic novel, which I did read. It is violent. So
Ooh.
yeah. Anyway.
All right. Well, Jason, go get your free comic book
Yeah, dude. Free
and
comic book day.
whatever else you're doing on this nerd day that you celebrate every
It's
year. So
it's a Star Wars thing and free comic book day.
it's just, I mean, like, could your life be better? Were you able
Yeah.
to forage for donuts this morning?
No, no, I had
Oh.
a small group, and then I came here
Oh,
because
okay.
we're recording early today.
Yeah,
But I'm planning on getting spicy cookies. So
that's right. That's right. Your friend's spicy cookies.
yeah, which is not a euphemism. So we'll leave it there. Heather, good morning. You have to say good morning or we can't leave. I can't hear you because you're laughing too loud. You got to.
Good morning.
All right. Good morning.